All right, well, let's go ahead and get going here. I see some familiar names on my list for attendees, so thank you for joining me again today here at ATG. Today, we're going to talk about creating a detail view family, and I use quotes, and we'll discuss why that is here in a minute, using the CTC Hive Content Management System. If you have any questions, feel free to type those in the chat, or we can have a Q&A at the end of the presentation. Be happy to answer any questions you might have. My name is Brian Weeks. I've been in the business now for coming up on 23 years. I've been with ATG now for coming up on 2. I'm a senior technical specialist, but I've also had experience in the field for that time period as an intern architect, project manager, BIM manager, so on and so forth. And so I've had a lot of experience with architecture, and how I came to be at ATG is through their team augmentation program. So what that means is if your firm has a need, we need templates, we need models, we need projects done, renderings, whatever that need may be, you can hire us to work for you. We have a full AEC team, so not only architects, but MEP, structural, civil professionals that work with ATG and at ATG to help you with your projects. And so that's how I'm here. So if you have a need, definitely contact your sales representative with ATG to get more information on that. I also like to mention that today I'm working exclusively on a BIMBox. This is a workstation that was developed specifically for Revit. This is the fastest computer I literally have ever worked on. It's incredible. I can run Revit and Inkscape and Zoom with my clients, and we can do walkthroughs as they render in Inkscape simultaneously with this machine. It's pretty incredible. So if you need more information on that, your company is maybe looking to upgrade to a few new Revit specific workstations or rendering workstations, definitely contact your sales rep. Check out atg.com product/BIMBox for more information. Well, let's go ahead and get started here. So as architects and even other trades, we have elements that we create within Revit, specifically detail views, walls, ceilings, and model groups, and elements within Revit that we cannot make into a family. And so in order to transfer these elements between project to project, the process is typically to insert those views or 2D views, or even the materials themselves, the elements, as a insertion or a copy paste. It gets into being a very difficult process to make these things happen. And a lot of times the transition is not as smooth as it needs to be. And with Hive, this tool, ever since I've been working here at ATG, is something I use in my daily workflow because of the amount of time it can help you speed up this process in Revit. Now, it also does other things that are outside of the wheelhouse for Revit. So you can also store content, and you can also have project management within Hive as well. And so we're going to kind of go over a couple of those things, talk about what Hive features are included, but then I'm actually going to jump into Revit and then show you some of the things that I use, specifically the detail views is kind of why, most of you are here is, hey, how do I do these detail views and get them to transfer from project to project? So let's go ahead and take a look. Hive Content Management System, and what Hive was originally designed for was just exactly what it says. It's a content management, organizing, managing your firm content. Specifically, BIM managers, project managers can be assigned as controlling managers, and then you can have your user group set up to control the content that your firm uses. And so rather than having it all on your local server where anyone can get into that file, edit it, modify it, lose it, accidentally delete it, With Hive, it's all stored in the cloud. You have full control over that with your management system. And it can also not only do Revit files, but it can also do CAD files, PDFs, images, anything that you want to store in the cloud. You can store it there, of course, but where it really shines is using this in Revit. And I'm going to show you why here in just a second. Now, also, what else can Hive do? Well, and I'm going to show you this as well. You can do account management and content browsing. You can also use content analytics. And so on the website, it uses a Microsoft SQL, and it takes data within your Revit models and is actually able to kick out model analytics for you to analyze your projects. So let me go ahead. Let's do a demonstration. Let me flip on over to my screen. I am going to first show you Hive. So I am currently in a project. Hive runs consecutively within your Revit program. I mean, they work side by side. Hive is installed to your toolbar, and this will be on a station by station basis, but all of the data is stored in the cloud. And this is your interface, the Hive CMS interface. Let me make this a little bigger. And it's very simple up front. You've got your libraries. You can save searches, tags, specific Revit categories. Your users can actually rate the content to help you improve your library, your company library. So if there's issues, they can actually rate it and leave comments. And how this works and how I use this in my daily workflows is we have specific clients that we work with, and I can create a specific library with their families in it. Now, this could also work for your company, because now you can organize all your Revit libraries and even your PDFs. Maybe you have your code PDFs for your firm that you want to store on the cloud. You know, you can store all that in the cloud and access it. So when you select one of the libraries, it takes you directly to this interface to where you can visually see what families are currently being shown. You want to see more, you can load more content. And how this works is if I just want to search for a specific item, such as a door, it pulls up my whole list of doors in that specific library. I can search my entire cloud if I so choose for all my doors, or if I'm working with a specific client, again, select that library. If I click on that door, this is the thing I love too about Hive, is that it allows me at just a click to see all of the relevant parameters. I can't modify them here, but I can see specific data. So if we're looking for, a specific manufacturer or a specific sizing, maybe the Revit versions, all this information is easily viewable from this details tab, which I can open and close from here. The search engine on Hive actually uses a filter system, and so you can see over here on the right, I have a large variety of ways that I can search for specific families. Now, the thing I also like about this system is that if I want to load just a specific family type, I don't have to load the entire family. I can pick the specific size. And in terms of your project file size, this is huge, but small, if you catch my meaning, because now our file sizes are going to remain smaller because we're not loading every instance of that family, just the ones we need. So if I right click, I can hit load. And what it's going to do is it's going to process that, and it's going to say, hey, here's your version. Are you sure you want to do this? And then you pick it. Okay, let's do it 36 by 90. Now I can load just that selected type, or again, if I want to load all those types, I can. But really, the way you save your file size, like I said, is to load it. Yeah, it's not going to let me do it in this, but let me switch over to my my floor plan. And because that was the last family I attempted to load, it's going to be under that should be that last door family or component. Nope. I can't remember what door that was now. Let me try that again. There we go. That was the door. So again, it just instantly loaded just that one door. It didn't load all the variety of types. Very easy to use. Again, I'm working within Revit and Hive simultaneously. So you can do this with, like we said, PDFs. Let me clear my filter so you can see all of the stuff we have. We have a variety of project PDFs that you can store. You can also store images. So if you have a materials library that you need to store, maybe your company library of rendered materials, all that can be stored in the cloud. But well, before we get to the detail component views, let me show you the management system. And so how this works is if you click, let me go back to my main page. If you click on manage, this will take you directly to the Hive content management website. Now, this is only accessible to those members of your company that have permissions. You set those up in users and groups, and you can set up groups for various projects, which then can be allowed to have only access to specific project folders. You also control permissions in the sense of who can do what. Do you have a management position, or do you have just a user permission? And that way you can, again, the whole reason for this is to protect your Revit libraries and the content that you're trying to provide, so it doesn't accidentally get deleted or altered by your users. You can hit help, and I'm just going to pull that up real quick so you can see, because I always get questions on these demos. What are the various what are the various user types? So if I go to roles and permissions, and so here's our permissions, and each of these various subtypes will add different controls to what can be done to those families. Who can upload, who can modify, who can change. Let me go back to the website again. So we start with our home. This is just shows what apps are being used the most. You can set up your, just like you would with a typical Microsoft SQL layout. You can set up various windows and dashboard features. If I go to dashboard, this is where all your primary data analytics occur. And I'll jump back to that here in a second. CMS is your content management. This is where you create your project libraries by your clients and what content is going to be loaded, which ones are public, which ones are private, by user. And again, that's all controlled through users and groups. This is also where you control your tags. So you can actually create tags specific to your firm, and then assign those tags to your specific Revit family content, or even if it's PDFs or images, hey, create a material tag, apply that to the material images. So this really helps your BIM managers to define your library content. And so your users can then find that information faster, again, using the content management search engine, searching for specific items within your library just by what's been tagged. So very in-depth system of managing this content. Your settings, of course, are just going to be your general user settings and permissions for that specific user. But your BIM manager and your project managers are really, this is where this is going to be set up for specific projects and group access. Now, with the Hive content management system data analysis, the data analytics, this is where you add your projects to Hive to run analytics on them. Now, let me clarify, this is not putting your projects on the Hive cloud server. This is just linking them so this program can analyze your projects. So you can see we have a couple of different things. You know, we can link from BIM 360, we can link from our network, we can link from our personal computer. So all this data can be linked, but it's not, again, it's not storing this on the cloud. Once you set your project up for this analysis, this link, now I'm going to show you where the cool stuff happens. Now this is really kind of big time for BIM managers and project managers, because you can actually come in and even your principals of your firm can utilize this, because this really, your enterprise settings can give you analytics back on your like an overall look at your company of projects. So how many users you have, how many, you know, who's by department. You can separate users by department, by office. You can actually analyze the Revit versions being used by your various offices or various personnel, plus the add-ins that are being used. Let me see if I click on one of these, it kind of loads that up and does some analysis. Let's see if any of these are connected right now. Okay, there's one. So this particular laptop, these are showing the various applications that are being used. So again, this is kind of enterprise is your global overall look at your company. But where the fun stuff happens for me, because I enjoy kind of this data analysis, is that your project managers and project architects can now link in your projects and have overviews. It doesn't look like these are set up, but these are. I can come in and click on a specific project and get an analysis of that project with the data. Let's see, Revit demo set. I apologize, some of these projects need to update. It'll show you contributors. It'll show you, you know, whatever the little table windows you need to set up to show and analyze. It will process that and come up with the project summary. Let me try a couple of these. It may be. It's loading it. With the project so and this analysis, it really gives you a very quick overview of, you know, view counts, level room counts. The thing I like is it also analyzes your project warnings. Oh, I just hit that. Sorry, I hit the button and then it went away. There it is. Oh, come on. So once you get these models associated with the project, oh, come on now. I don't think there's any other demos going on right now, but I could be mistaken. So I'm clicking on one, and if any other analysis is going on, it may be going slow. So this Revit model is associated with this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 project number. This is just an example that was set up in here by one of our techs. And you can see how it's actually taking this Revit model and analyzing it, showing you the view count. So you can actually see how many views there are in this project. You can also see how many groups and families are included. Properties, levels. This particular one has 596 warnings. So we can take a look at that down here. I'll show you that here in a second. And again, you set your projects up with the Revit models, and it does that same analysis, shows you what's been linked, shows you the changes. Now it's caught up. I think my internet connection may have been a little slow there, but now we're catching up to this analysis. And so these are all separate Revit models. So in theory, you could have one project set up, you know, hey, this is our project hospital. And then you have the individual models linked. So you could have your architect, structural, mechanical, blah, blah, blah. And then you can actually do analysis on each of those as they're brought in. Again, this isn't where your files are stored. It's just linking them to provide analysis. And then, of course, the warnings, which is kind of a cool thing too, because then you can very quickly and easily find what warnings you have, what the types are, get more description on it. 26 different elements of rooms, wall separation, lines, overlap. So this really helps from a BIM manager level. And it also provides you the element ID, so you can search for that in your project and fix those issues. You can also sort by Revit versions by project. So again, just a lot of high-level analysis. The content management system itself operates in the same way, but now the analytics are looking at our libraries, how this is all being sorted, how much content we have. The search statistics I like as a BIM manager because it allows me to make sure I'm adding the proper content. So if I've got a lot of users looking for, well, there's one, wide flange, you can look at the different, how many searches are occurring, but you can look at specific items that are being searched more often than others. And maybe if it's being searched for and you don't have that item in your library, maybe it's something that as a BIM manager, you need to consider, hey, we've got a lot of people looking for pendant. Maybe we need to add more pendant lights or determine what our company standard is. It also breaks down your Revit content by model. So those same models that we linked up here in the projects linking, you can come in and actually analyze the content in the model on a project by project basis. So if you link on it, so it's completely broken down this particular one, we have, oh, there it goes. It keeps updating there. So I've got 2 counts of, it looks like 2 counts of specialty, 11%, mechanical, so on and so forth. Let's click on that and see what that comes up with. Save it out, export. Oh, here we go. That's the list right there. Different types of families. Anyway, and then again, associating tags. This is where you can start doing some analytics on the tags themselves. And then downloads are for where you can actually download this content as a list. You can specify, hey, we needed to send this out as a download, so we can have a hard copy of it or something. You can do that. So again, dashboard, content management, project management, and then your users and groups, and then your users can actually say through this Hive interface, your users can actually request specific, let me go back to that, add specific request. Oh, there we go. It's pulling up the window. I can say, hey, I really want to request, a new desk family or a new chair family. BIM manager, can go, okay, cool. We need this particular family for this project. Now let me jump back to Hive again, because I want to show, and then I'm going to jump into the actual detail components part. When we go into this, the other thing I really enjoy about Hive is that with these particular families, I can associate as, I have the permission. So you're basically, what you're seeing through my screen is full BIM manager, project manager positions. I can actually associate images or PDFs or a manufacturer link to whatever family I'm currently clicked on. And the example I like to use is as a spec writer, I love having that as at the, my fingertips. So if I have this particular ice water dispenser and I want to attach the specification for it, or I want to attach a cut sheet, any kind of information, I can add that and it will associate it doesn't store it in the family. It associates it through Hive, that content, to that family. So when I click on these various families, if I have a specific, my BIM manager has come through and added that specific information, then it will show up over here and I can actually access that content directly from Hive. So very helpful, especially for spec writers to get the information very quickly of what's being associated. You have save searches, so multiple searches that are that you occur on a daily basis. You can do that. And I already had clicked on adding comments. So let me get out of that again. So let me show you how to add content. This is the whole purpose of this presentation, really, and the thing that I really love about Hive is the ability to add views and components and walls and things to Hive, which can then turn these elements into a quote unquote family. They're not an actual family in the sense of an RFA like Revit, where we can export it and store it as a Revit family. And that's the only drawback, is that they're stored in the cloud. Hive organizes this content to where we can access it as a family. And let me show you how that works. So if I go back here to my project, and I've done another presentation previously, if you're interested, on the process of bringing in, it's called The Great Migration. You can search for it on YouTube, The Great Migration. It talks about how the proper methods of bringing in CAD details into Revit, to how to clean them up, prep them as a standard detail. Now this one's not completely finished. As you can see, I don't have arrows and things going on, but part of that demo was talking about the proper way to bring these CAD details in, because as architects and even MEP, we have these libraries, these huge libraries of CAD details that we have just gathered and inherited throughout the years that our firm has been around. And these are the details we use. We like using them in CAD. We want to use these same exact details. We figured out the right notes that we want to say. But when you bring them into Revit, there's a whole lot of issues with line types and line styles and text, the fonts and everything can create issues and then just bog down your project. So if you're putting forth the effort to clean up all these and pay one of your employees to sit there, bring these details in, you want to have a very quick and efficient method to bring them into other projects. And like I said at the kind of the beginning of this, the way that we have traditionally had to do that is to bring them in as a view. Now we insert from a file, and you insert the views from a file, and it's either a view, which Revit is very specific on how you can bring those in and out, because if it's a detail view that's somehow linked to a section cut that actually has model elements, sometimes that doesn't come in. 2D elements, again, are very finicky about how that's being brought in. And it's kind of it's a process that you have to have the other file open, whatever other project. Hey, this is our project that we love. It has all the details that we've used forever and ever, and you got to have it open in the background, and then you got to insert these elements and so on and so forth. It just becomes a very lengthy process to bring these in. With Hive, I can create a detail view showing that. So here's just a roof detail family that's by itself. I just had this imported, and if I want to add this to my other project, say this project, by using Hive, I can come in here and I will add Revit Project Elements. I can specify the library I want it to go into. So let's just do Hive demo. And then I can add Revit Project Elements, and it's going to kind of run here and give me a list of the variety of elements that are in this current project that I have open. And this is really where it gets cool, because now we can add these specific elements into Hive to save template size for our project. So I kind of scrolled quickly there. You can create schedules. You can, or I should say, export schedules, export wall types. So if you have a company standard wall type, which most architect firms do, you can check all these, and it will save these in Hive as very easy to insert and bring into your project, quote unquote, families. And I have really no other better way to describe it than it's kind of a family within Hive, because Revit doesn't allow us to create, you know, families specifically like this with wall assemblies. Curtain walls, door frame schedules, floors, all these can be brought into Hive. But the thing I'm looking at, let's see here. Let me go back to design app. Let me switch to, I went to the wrong window here. Let me go back to this one. And this one is called Roof Detail 2. So now I'm going to add this with Roof Detail 2. Yep, come on. And then I can search for it. There it is, Roof Detail 2. And you see it's specifying it as a view. I'm going to add elements. It shows me that roof detail view. And then I can export that content, or I can add that. And that's what I just did. I added it. You can also update. So perhaps if you've made changes to this roof detail in your original project, and then, hey, we need to update this, and it's the same name, you can click on it, update, and then when you process it, it's going to update that Hive component to the new changes. And then you can also, of course, export the content to an Excel file. That's if you want to have a complete list of everything you're kind of doing. But let's go ahead and do this. Let's process it. So it's going to take this this is all 2D. None of this is 3D. This was an imported CAD roof flashing detail. It is successful. Showing it where it saved it temporarily as I processed it. I'm going to go ahead and go back to my Hive demo, and then I'm going to type in roof because that's where we saved it, and there it is. So now I've got that 2D detail exported from my detail project, but now I need to insert it into my other project. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to close it. You can see all the details, you know, the different discipline that it's set up at. These are all the parameters that were set up in the original view for that roof detail. But I just need to insert it. Let's just show how easy it is. I just double click on it, and now it's loading it. And now I've got my detail view within my other project, and I can open up a blank sheet, find my detail view, and of course you'll kind of have to come in and do some you know, organizing because you want it set up on a specific template or something like that. Let's see, we got a comment that we keep a project just for details so you can update from one location per customer. So the chain work for restaurants have their own detail projects for just storing those and then load them into a chain tag on Hive. So it sounds like Danya, if I'm saying that name correctly, you already use Hive. So yeah, that's a great example. So you can have your different client libraries all stored within Hive in different folders, and then it makes it very easy just to click and link those in. Let's see what else. So we can go back to now. This is the CAD detail. Let me jump back to our add content. And let me go back to this project, and we can see some of our different wall types that we have. So if we were to go to like our floor plan, and you can see our, you know, we have all these standard wall types that we use on our projects perhaps, and we want to create these as standards, you know, save them, export them. Hey, these are our standard wall types. We want to put these in other projects and use them over and over again. Now, the advantage to all of this, the whole reason for all of this is to have smaller starting templates. You know, the smaller the templates that you start with, the faster your projects will operate, the less redundant information you're going to have, and the more control you're going to have over your content as a BIM manager and a project manager. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and add some more content. Yeah, let's refresh some stuff here. Add project elements. And the only reason it keeps flipping back to that window is because as Hive is operating and doing stuff, it's kind of like, hey, I'm still calculating. And I keep trying to switch back to it. Let's see. It's busy. Yep, because I clicked it too many times. Give it a second here. And yeah, and so Danya had a great example, because with that content, I mean, you can do door schedules, fixture schedules. If in that case with working with restaurants, you can have all your equipment schedules and you have all those standardized. It makes it very easy to make all that happen. Let's do this again. Oh, it's because I'm still in my draw command. That's why. Sorry about that. Let me make this screen big so you can just see some of this stuff. That this is all in our current project, and we want to add this stuff to Hive so we can use it in other projects. Maybe we have a standard exterior wall type that we like to use, and we have an specific curtain wall we like to use. And maybe we have our specific floors, especially when you have your true structural floor set up with your profile of the floor system. It's always nice to have those as standards that then you can just bring those in and insert them into projects. How about floor finish schedule? Maybe you have a specific manufacturer's finishes that you need to have in all your projects. Some firms have legends and things that, hey, we're going to use these over and over again. Let's use those. So as I scroll, you can see the variety of items that you can create in Hive as a quote unquote family in Hive that you wouldn't be able to typically do in Revit, because of the true definition of a family, is actually to have the parameters set up and create, whether you're using a generic family template, floor-based, wall-based, etc. You typically wouldn't be able to do that with some of these items because of the way that Revit operates with these elements. So just by processing that, letting it go for a second here while it extracts that information out. And while we wait, I am looking at the chat. So if anybody has any questions or even wants to speak up, feel free to ask a question. It's a pretty robust program. I love to always get new questions that make me kind of rethink what I'm doing with it. Because again, I'm showing you my workflows as a project architect, project manager. I'm kind of showing you what I use it for, and saving time, of course, is the final. That's kind of our end game. That's what, as architects and designers and MEP and structural civil, we're all about the time. How much time can we save? And this is one of the ways that can help you do that. Let me see. I try to remember. Let me flip back to my project because I'm trying to remember what the. Let me go to my original project, and I'm trying to remember what those names were, so then I can search for it by name. I think it was brick. Yeah, exterior - brick. So if I go back to this, which doesn't have that, and then I can go exterior - let's see what comes up. There it is right there. So those are the ones I just imported. And if I want to see information on that, it's already got tags associated with it. Units, versions, I can pull that in, just double click. Now it's pulled that in. And see how it automatically loaded it. Since I didn't have a command going in Revit, all I had to do was load it, and it automatically loaded into that file type. Now let's change that so you can see the, you can see the detail level changes the way that looks. But that's, that's the wall that we just imported, or that we just created in Hive from this other project. Let's see, what else do I like to show off with Hive? So I've shown you the search, the search filters. I've shown you the details that you can organize. Let's see, what else can we also look for? I did mention PDFs, and I need to clear my filters. The thing I really like about this is that I know most firms have, all their code libraries and any kind of local code documentation, or even project by project documentation that the owner has provided. And so you can store that in your specific projects by creating a new project folder and storing that information. Let's see, any other questions? Let me jump back to, I'm going to jump back real quick to this because I want to make sure I've touched on it. So we've talked about the account management with the users. We've talked about the content browsing, which is within Revit and the Hive application. We've talked about the content analytics on Hive. And we've also talked about the active model analytics, to where you can analyze if those are linked in. Let me see here. Again, I want to make sure I haven't missed anything. Sometimes I can kind of go off track and talk about various thoughts and ideas as this applies. Talked about how to extract those project elements into Hive and insert them. Yeah, project library search tool and content management permissions. So are there any questions, any comments? We'll make sure everybody's got access. Okay, well, I do appreciate everyone joining me today to take a look at Hive and how to extract detail view content from your projects into Hive and then reinsert them into other projects. If you have more questions, definitely you can contact me at atg.com. bweeks@atgusa.com. You can also subscribe to ATG on social media just to get more information. We have webinars and white papers and blogs occurring every week on a weekly basis. So be sure to check us out for up to the minute technical information. And I do appreciate everyone's time today. Thank you, Danya. I appreciate it. It's a very cool program to use. And if any of your firms that are sitting in here all today, maybe you want a longer demo or a little bit want to have, especially if there's any BIM managers online and you need to have this shown to your principals to get purchased for the company, definitely contact us, because we'd be happy to set up a longer demo for you to show off what this tool can do. And thank you, everyone. Have a great Tuesday, and we'll see you later. Thank you. Bye.